A married woman is enjoying comfort in another man's arms until her husband, who's a large man who works as a butcher, comes home early, and she sees him lift a huge unprocessed cut of beef out of his truck. She panics and says, "My husband is back, and good heavens, he's brought work home with him." The woman, not knowing what else to do, quickly hides her affair partner in the walk-in closet. And while the man was hiding in there, he heard a child's voice say, "Cool. Isn't it dark in here?" The AP almost shrieks in fright when he realizes it's the woman's son. The boy smiles and says, "I know what you were doing here, and I'm going to tell my daddy on you." The AP panics and pulls out his wallet. "Look, boy, if you keep my secret, I'll give you this $10 bill. How about it?" The boy snubs him and says, "Now my daddy has always told me to be a good Catholic and to never lie. And besides, $10 isn't enough." The AP then offers $20, and the boy takes it and leaves. And he hid in there for hours till the lady managed to sneak him out in the middle of the night. The next day, the boy's father questions him about where he got the $20. And the boy says a man gave it to him, and the father said he felt like the boy was lying. But no matter what, he couldn't get the truth out of him, so he said he'd take him to church and make him confess in the booth. The boy enters the booth and says, "Cool, isn't it dark in here?" And a voice on the other side says, "Oh, not you again." And when the boy came back to his father, he'd somehow gotten $40. 1. The lion is celebrating a party. All animals are invited, but only the hamster is not. The hamster does not want to miss the party and asks the rabbit, "Hey, rabbit, can't you smuggle me in behind your big ears to the lion's party?" The rabbi answers, "Nope, I'm not tired of life. If the lion noticed that, it would be my end." The hamster then asks the fox, "Listen, fox, can't you smuggle me in your bushy tail to the lion's party?" The fox, "Are you crazy? If the lion gets it right, then I'll be dead." Finally, the hamster asks the bear, and he says, "No problem. I can smuggle you in my breast pocket." When the bear visits the party in the evening, the lion asks him, "I've heard that the hamster wants to be smuggled into my party. You probably will not support him, will you?" The bear, "No, of course not." The lion then says, "Then you certainly don't mind emptying your breast pocket." The bear answers, "Sure, no problem. Here's my purse, here's my bowl, here's my ID." Suddenly, the bear hits the chest with full force. And here's a picture of the hamster. 2. A professional person and a non-professional person are sitting next to each other on a long flight. While the employment, age, gender, race, and hair color of either person are not known, the first person makes lots of money in a highly competitive profession that has required many years of study to qualify for. The money is made sometimes at the expense of others, and many people outside of the profession routinely question the ethics of this. The second person is generally considered to be not quite as intelligent in terms of book smarts, or as wily or cunning as the first person for various reasons, including, but not limited to, hair color and gender. Anyway, the first person leans over to the second and asks if he would like to play a fun game. The second person just wants to take a nap, so he politely declines and rolls over to the window to catch a few winks. The first person persists and explains that the game is really easy and lots of fun. He explains, "I ask you a question, and if you don't know the answer, you pay me 5, and vice versa." Again, the second person politely declines and tries to get some sleep. The first person, now somewhat agitated, says, "Okay, if you don't know the answer, you pay me 5, and if I don't know the answer, I will pay you 50. Figuring that, since he is a person normally assumed to be not as intelligent as herself, by virtue that he herself is a member of the profession that he is in, and also by virtue the second person having the color hair he does, that he will easily win the match. This catches the second person's attention, and figuring that there will be no end to this torment unless he plays, agrees to the game. The first person asks the first question. What's the distance from the Earth to the moon? The second person doesn't say a word, reaches into her wallet, purse, pulls out a 5-pound note, and hands it to the first person. Now, it's the second person's turn. He asks the first person, what goes up a hill with 3 legs and comes down with 4? The professional looks at her with a puzzled look. He then takes out her laptop computer and searches all her references. He taps into the airphone with her modem and searches the net and the Library of Congress. Frustrated, he sends emails to all her co-workers and friends he knows, all to no avail. After over an hour, he wakes the non-professional with non-disclosed hair color and hands her 50. The second person politely takes the 50 and turns away to get back to sleep. The professional, who is more than a little miffed, wakes the second person and asks, well, so what is the answer? Without a word, the second person reaches into her wallet, purse, hands the first person 5, and goes back to sleep. 3. Far away. In the tropical waters of the Caribbean, 2 prawns were swimming around in the sea, one called Justin and the other called Christian. The prawns were constantly being harassed and threatened by sharks that inhabited the area. Finally, one day, Justin said to Christian, I'm fed up with being a prawn. I wish I was a shark, then I wouldn't have any worries about being eaten. A large, mysterious cod appeared and said, your wish is granted. And lo and behold, Justin turned into a shark. Horrified, Christian immediately swam away, afraid of being eaten by his old mate. Time passed, as it invariably does, and Justin found life as a shark boring and lonely. All his old mates simply swam away whenever he came close to them. Justin didn't realize that his new menacing appearance was the cause of his sad plight. While swimming alone one day, he saw the mysterious cod again, and he thought perhaps the mysterious fish could change him back into a prawn. He approached the cod and begged to be changed back, and lo and behold, he found himself turned back into a prawn. With tears of joy in his tiny little eyes, Justin swam back to his friends and bought them all a cocktail. Looking around the gathering at the reef, he realized he couldn't see his old pal. Where's Christian? He asked. He's at home, still distraught that his best friend changed sides to the enemy and became a shark, came the reply. Eager to put things right again and end the mutual pain and torture, he set off to Christian's abode. As he opened the coral gate, memories came flooding back. He banged on the door and shouted, It's me, Justin, your old friend. Come out and see me again. Christian replied, No way, man. You'll eat me. You're now a shark, the enemy, and I'll not be tricked into being your dinner. Justin cried back, No, I'm not. That was the old me. I've changed. I've found cod. I'm a prawn again, Christian. 4. My blonde friend, Charlene, phones me up to ask for help with her jigsaw puzzle. I said, Surely you can manage a simple jigsaw puzzle without needing help? She said, No, honesty, it's really hard. The pieces are quite similar. I've been working on it night and day for a week, and I've got nowhere. I said, What's the picture of? She said, It's a cartoon chicken. I said, Well, that doesn't sound like it could be that difficult. She said, Are you coming over to help me or not? I said, Okay, I'll be there within the hour. I caught a train and then a taxi. Finally, I buzzed her apartment. She answers and lets me up. I take the elevator up. I walk up to her apartment. She's already there with the door open. Follow me, she says, and leads me to her dining room table. Well, Mr. Cleverclogs, now, you try and finish the jigsaw puzzle. I say, Charlene, put the box of Kellogg's cornflakes down. 5. A man is flying in a hot air balloon and realizes he is lost. He reduces his height and spots a man below. He lowers the balloon farther and shouts, "Excuse me, can you tell me where I am?" The man below says, "Yes, you're in a hot air balloon, hovering 30 feet above this field." "You must be an engineer," says the balloonist. "I am," replies the man. "How did you know?" "Well," says the balloonist, "everything you have told me is technically correct, but it's no use to anyone." The man below says, "You must be in management." "I am," replies the balloonist. "But how did you know?" "Well," says the man, "you don't know where you are or where you're going, but you expect me to be able to help? You're in the same position you were before we met, but now it's my fault." 6. A programmer and his project manager board a train headed through the mountains. They can find no other place to sit except for 2 seats right across the aisle from a young woman and her grandmother. After a while, it becomes quite clear that the woman and the programmer are interested in each other as they keep looking at each other. Soon, the train passes into a tunnel and it is pitch black. There is the sound of a kiss, followed by the sound of a slap. When the train finally emerges from the tunnel, the 4 sit there without saying a word. The grandmother thinks to herself, "It was very rude of that young man to kiss my granddaughter, but I am glad she slapped him." The project manager thinks to himself, "I did not think the programmer was brave enough to kiss the woman, but I wish she hadn't missed him when she slapped me." The young woman thought to herself, "I am glad the guy kissed me, but I wish my grandmother had not slapped him." The programmer has a satisfied smile on his face and thinks, "Life is good. How often does a guy have a chance to kiss a beautiful woman and slap his project manager at the same time?" 7. An old couple were talking about the days they were a young couple. The wife asked her husband, "What exactly did you think of me when we met?" Her husband replied, "I was able to describe you using the entire alphabet back then." "What do you mean exactly?" A, adorable, B, beautiful, C, cute, D, delightful, E, excellent, F, fabulous, G, genuine, H, humble. You get the idea. "Oh, that's so sweet. What about I, J, and K?" "Are you sure you want to hear it? Remember, this was when we just started to know each other." The wife nodded her head, insisting he go on. "I'm just kidding.